Welcome, friend. Tonight, we experience a chilling, cerebral retelling of Edgar Allan Poe's classic The Raven in this modern creepypasta tale, The Flicker. This psychological horror story dives deep into insomnia, paranoia, and the terrifying unraveling of reality. So now please sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. And don't forget to keep the lights on.
It begins with a flicker. Not from the dying bulbs overhead, though they certainly do their part to twist the light into unsettling shapes. No, it's something deeper, a disturbance within. A tremor not of the flesh, but of perception. I can't shake it. This feeling like something is watching me. Waiting. It's been days since I last slept properly. I blame the insomnia, of course. Sleep deprivation does wild things to the mind. It gnaws at reality, frays the edges of what you know to be true. The late-night news blurs with the flickering screens in my apartment, and reality itself, all of it, seems soft, malformed, unfinished. I tell myself it's nothing, just fatigue, just another night. I pace unsteady across the room. It's well past midnight, and I feel the weight of silence pushing in from all sides, though the occasional hum of the refrigerator and the faint thrum of distant traffic remind me that life still persists beyond these walls. But inside? Inside, it's me, the shadows, and the flicker. I stand at the window, looking down at the street. It's deserted, not unusual for this time of night. But there's something wrong. A heaviness in the air, an almost imperceptible wrongness that lingers just out of reach. My eyes scan the pavement below, the buildings across the street, the dim streetlights casting their pallid glow. Then I see it. Just beyond the reach of the nearest lamppost, a figure, too far to make out any details. It's nothing but a smudge, a silhouette against the night, yet I can't shake the feeling that it's watching me. I blink, rub my eyes, but the figure remains unmoving, unwavering. The flicker intensifies, buzzing behind my eyes. I tell myself I'm imagining it, a trick of the light, a shadow cast by my own paranoia. Still, I close the curtains and retreat to the worn leather chair by my desk. There's work to be done. Deadlines don't care about insomnia or paranoia or mysterious figures on the street. But every time I glance back at the closed curtains, I can feel it. Something out there watching. The tapping starts the next night, a faint, repetitive sound like fingers drumming against a hollow surface. At first, I think it's my mind playing tricks on me again, another symptom of exhaustion. But it's persistent, steady, growing louder in the silence. I sit at my desk, papers scattered in front of me, but the sound dominates. I try to focus, pushing through the haze of fatigue. But there it is again. Tap, tap, tap. It's not coming from the walls or the ceiling. It's coming from the window. I freeze, my throat tightens. For a long moment, I don't move. Then slowly, my eyes shift to the window. The curtains are still drawn, heavy and dark, but the tapping persists, a methodical rhythm just beyond the thin barrier of cloth. The figure. I know it's the figure. I've seen it every night since that first flicker. Each time closer, each time clearer. Always still, always watching. And now it's here. I should look. I should throw back the curtains and confront it. Face whatever thing has come to invade my nights. But I don't. I can't. Instead, I sit there, paralyzed, heart pounding in my chest as the tapping continues. Tap, tap, tap. It's almost mocking, as if daring me to look. But something in my gut warns me, no, urges me, to leave it alone, to let it be. There are some things you don't want to see, some things you can't unsee. Hours pass and the tapping fades. But even in the silence that follows, I can feel it out there. Waiting, the days blur into one another. I hardly leave the apartment anymore. Sleep comes in brief, uneasy spells, punctuated by the constant sense of being watched. The figure outside grows bolder, more tangible, more real. Every time I glimpse it, it's closer, the details sharpening in my mind. A tall shape, unnaturally tall, draped in shadow. No face, no features. Just an absence, a void where something should be. I try to tell myself it's the lack of sleep, that I'm slipping, losing touch with reality. But even that excuse feels hollow now. It's not just the figure, it's everything. Little things, small, unimportant details of daily life, begin to feel wrong, misaligned. The flicker inside me has spread, warping my perception of the world around me. Objects seem to shift subtly when I'm not looking. Sounds stretch and distort. Time itself seems slippery, unreliable. I stop checking the window altogether. It's easier that way. If I don't look, it's not real. If I ignore it, maybe it'll go away. But tonight the tapping is louder, more insistent. I sit in my chair, trembling. It's louder than it's ever been before. Louder and closer. This time it's not just at the window. It's inside the room. Behind me. I can feel it now, standing just behind the chair, looming over me. The hairs on the back of my neck prickle and I can feel its presence. Cold, oppressive, like a vacuum sucking the air from the room. My breath comes in shallow gasps. "Go away," I whisper, barely audible, my voice cracking. But it doesn't. It never does. I don't remember falling asleep, but I must have because I wake to the sound of my own shallow breathing, ragged and uneven. The light from the window casts long shadows across the room, painting everything in sickly gray. For a moment I convince myself it's over, that whatever had been haunting me, that thing, has finally left. Then I hear it. The whisper. Low and rasping, like the last breath of a dying man, it curls through the room, barely perceptible, yet unmistakable. It repeats my name, over and over again, each utterance softer, more distorted, like the voice is being dragged through the air from some unfathomable distance. I sit up in bed, heart pounding. The whisper doesn't stop. I can feel it, feel him, just beyond the threshold of the room, lingering in the corners where the light doesn't reach. "What do you want?" I ask, my voice weak, trembling. The whisper stops. For a brief, horrible second, I think it's over, that I've broken whatever spell it holds over me. But then it returns, louder now, more distinct. It forms words this time, not just a name, not just a breath. Words I don't understand. Words in a language that twists my tongue and sends shivers down my spine. And then, through the static of the whisper, one word cuts through. Clear. Cold. "Come." The curtains billow. The tapping starts again, louder, faster. The world around me feels like it's folding in on itself. My vision swims, the shadows moving, slithering across the floor toward me. I rise slowly, my legs shaky, weak. Against my better judgment, against every instinct that screams at me to run, to hide, I move toward the window. My hand reaches for the curtain, trembling. I know I shouldn't. I know that whatever waits on the other side is wrong. But the whisper is stronger now, pulling me closer, guiding me. I pull the curtain aside. The street below is empty. The figure is gone. No shadow, no outline, no trace of the thing that has haunted me for days. For a moment I feel relief, a weight lifting from my chest. It's over. It's finally over. But then I see it, my reflection in the glass. It's me, but not me. The face staring back is distorted, stretched, as though it's trapped behind the glass, pressing against it, straining to break through. Its eyes are hollow, black pits, and its mouth is twisted into a grin that doesn't belong to me. My heart skips a beat. I stumble back, away from the window, the room spinning around me. The flicker inside my head is blinding now, pulsing, throbbing. I hear the whisper again, closer, clearer. It's inside me. The figure. It's never been outside. It's always been here. It's always been part of me. And now it wants out. I sit in the darkness, my back against the wall, knees pulled to my chest. The room is quiet now. No tapping, no whispering, just silence. But it's a different kind of silence. The kind that hums beneath your skin, that buzzes in your bones. I know what's coming. I've known for a while now, but I've been too afraid to admit it. The flicker is no longer something I can ignore, something I can brush aside as a figment of my exhausted mind. It's real. It's part of me. The figure, the thing that's been watching me, stalking me, tormenting me. It's not some external force, it's something inside. Something that's been growing, festering, waiting for the right moment to surface. And now that moment is here. I can feel it crawling beneath my skin, twisting my thoughts, warping my perception. It's taking over, slowly, methodically, consuming me from the inside. Every thought, every movement feels less like my own. I'm not sure where I end and it begins anymore. The whisper comes back, though softer now, as if it no longer needs to convince me. It no longer needs to command. It already has me. I know it, and it knows it. But I fight. It's a strange thing, fighting something inside yourself. There's no room for distance or clarity, no ground to stand on. It's like trying to wrestle with your own shadow. The moment I push it away, it slips through my fingers and reappears behind my eyes and my thoughts, reshaping my reality in subtle, insidious ways. I look at my hands. They're trembling, but they don't look right. The veins beneath the skin seem darker, the flesh stretched too tight, like the skin of a balloon about to burst. I turn them over, try to clench my fists, but they barely respond. It's as if I'm watching someone else's hands, detached from any sensation of control. A surge of panic rises in my chest, but it feels muted, distant, like it doesn't belong to me. The voice is there again, threading through my mind, whispering to me in that strange, alien language. I try to block it out, try to drown it with my own thoughts, but it's stronger now. Clearer. Come, it says again, not just in my ears, but inside my head, woven into the very fabric of my consciousness. I feel a pull, a compulsion to move, to rise, to go somewhere, though I don't know where. My body responds before my mind can catch up. I stand, unsteady, my limbs jerky and unnatural, as though I'm a marionette on invisible strings. I stumble toward the door, the room swaying around me, the flicker growing stronger, more violent. My vision tunnels, and for a moment all I can see is darkness. All I can hear is the pounding in my skull. The door. I'm standing at the door now, my hand reaches for the knob. My fingers, skeletal and foreign, wrap around it. And then... silence. Everything stops. The flicker, the whisper, the pulling sensation, it all vanishes in an instant like a switch has been flipped. I blink, disoriented, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The world sharpens again, solid and real. The room is just a room. My hands, though pale and trembling, are mine again. I stand there for a moment, frozen, waiting for something to happen. But nothing does. It's over. Or at least it feels over. I open the door. The hallway outside is eerily quiet. Dim lights flicker overhead, casting long shadows along the walls, but it feels empty, abandoned. I step out, the floorboards creaking under my weight, and glance down the length of the corridor. Something's wrong. The hallway. It's longer than it should be. It stretches out impossibly far, bending at strange angles, the walls narrowing the further I look. It shouldn't be possible. I've lived in this building for years. This hallway, this space. It's always been simple, normal. But now it feels distorted, like a reflection in a funhouse mirror. And there, at the very end of the corridor, barely visible in the gloom, stands the figure. I can see it clearly now. Its shape, though still shrouded in shadow, is undeniably human. Or rather, something that once resembled human. Tall, impossibly tall. Its limbs too long, its posture unnaturally still. And the face. There's something there. Something resembling a face, though its features are blurred, indistinct. Eyes that are too deep, too hollow, like twin black holes. And a mouth that seems to stretch impossibly wide, grinning at me with an intensity that makes my skin crawl. I want to run. Every instinct screams at me to turn around, to shut the door, to lock it, to hide. But I don't. I can't. The pull is back, stronger than before. It tugs at me, dragging me forward, step by step, closer to the figure. My legs move on their own, my body a puppet once more, driven by forces beyond my understanding. The walls of the hallway close in around me, the space narrowing, tightening, until I can barely breathe. The flicker in my mind pulses in time with my steps, a relentless thrum that grows louder and louder. And then I'm standing before it. The figure looms over me, its presence overwhelming, suffocating. Up close, its features are even more wrong, more broken, like a memory of a face that has been shattered and pieced back together by something that didn't understand how human anatomy works. The eyes bore into me, those deep, endless voids, and I feel myself slipping, falling into them. Its mouth moves, though no sound comes out at first. Then, slowly, in a voice that is not quite human, it speaks. "You called?" I open my mouth to respond, but no words come. My throat is dry, my tongue heavy. I can't speak. I can't move. I can only stand there, frozen, as the figure leans in closer, its breath cold against my skin. "You called me," it repeats, its voice a rasping, hollow echo of my own. "No," I manage to choke out, my voice barely a whisper. I didn't call you." But even as I say the words, I know they're a lie. I did call it. Maybe not with words, not consciously, but I called it all the same. The flicker, the insomnia, the growing sense of wrongness. It was all leading to this. I asked for it. "You wanted to see," it says, its grin widening, impossibly wide now, stretching across its face like a wound. "And now you will." It steps forward and I step back, but there's nowhere to go. The hallway is gone. The walls are gone. It's just me and the figure now, standing in an infinite black void. The air around me grows thick, oppressive, as though the very fabric of reality is being pulled apart. I try to turn away, to close my eyes, but I can't. Its gaze holds me, pins me in place, and all I can do is stare as the world unravels around us. "See?" it whispers. And I do. For the briefest moment, I see everything. The flicker in my mind explodes into a blinding light, and I'm torn from my body, from time, from space. I see the truth of this world, of my existence, of the thing that stands before me. I see the cracks in reality, the spaces between spaces, the infinite voids that stretch beyond human comprehension. I see the figure for what it truly is, not a man, not a creature, but an absence, a hole in the universe, a living void that has been waiting, always waiting, for someone like me. And then the moment passes. I'm back in the hallway. The walls are there again, the light flickering weakly overhead. The figure is gone. But the flicker remains. The whisper remains. I can still feel it inside me, crawling beneath my skin, twisting through my thoughts. It's not done with me. It never will be. I didn't defeat it. I didn't escape it. It's part of me now. I sit down in the middle of the hallway, staring at my hands, at the pale, trembling flesh that no longer feels like my own. The world feels distant, like I'm viewing it through a layer of glass, separated from reality by something unseen, unfathomable. The flicker pulses inside my skull, and I know that the figure, whatever it is, whatever it represents, has left something behind. It called me once, and now I fear I will be the one doing the calling. Soon. The void is patient, and it will wait.
This town is big enough for the two of us. Doesn't the saying normally go, "This town isn't big enough for the two of us"? Well, yeah, but we can share. I'm okay with it. You're my best buddy anyways. Best friend!